How you doing, Minister LaShawn? Good to see you.
Greetings, how are you?
You have 2 devices, so mute one. If Ambassador Victoria is not yet in, then we go to the next speaker because he is with their minister.
Now, each Ruth sisters is going to speak.
They'll just give 5 minutes remarks. Yeah.
5 minutes remarks for each Ruth sisters. Okay.
The lady in Cameroon said they're having challenges network. In 5 minutes, you start. Okay.
We'd like to welcome everybody that's coming online at this time. We welcome you. We're going to start in 2 minutes. Well, we'd like to welcome all from around the world to our Ruth Sisters Fellowship International United Nations Commission on Status of Women 66 Session side event. The theme is Climate Actions and Inspirations of Women in Ministry in a Changing World. In many parts of the world, women and children bear the primary responsibilities for domestic tasks, including water collection, often at the expense of education, income generating activities, cultural and political environment, rest, and recreation. Climate change has significant impacts on freshwater resources, affecting the availability of water use for the domestic and productive task. The consequences of the increased frequency in floods and droughts are far-reaching, particularly for women and girls who are responsible for water management at the household level. Climate change and its related impacts undermine the human rights and threaten progress towards achieving the Sustainability Development Agenda by spreading food, insecurity, inequality, conflicts, disaster, and humanitarian crisis. While climate change is a universal threat, the burden is not felt equally across the world. In dislocations, impacts are health, livelihoods, and the poor and most valuable, especially those who face multiple intersection forms of discrimination, such as women in poverty, youth, children, people with disabilities, and women in ministry. Women in ministry have in the past years experienced cultural and climate actions in their genderhood, yet the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action for 26 years ago. Efforts have geared towards ensuring successes on gender equality across member states. Regional and national and community policies have included gender issues, making commitments to successful implementation for the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the BDPA, on women and girls. The objective of the theme, climate actions and inspiration of women in ministry in the changing world, will reflect on the primary theme of the CSW66 session, achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls in the context of climate change, environmental and disaster risks reduction policies and programs. And this is what we're going to explore. The inclusion of women in ministry and integral partners in responding to climate change and building climate resilience through consultation, inclusion, and multitask holders, partnerships, and ensuring collaboration at the local level. Number two, addressing the disappropriated effect of environmental degradation and climate change on rural women through supporting resilience, agricultural, and other livelihood programs, ensuring inclusion of women in the formal economy. Number three, accelerate efforts to eliminate environmental racism, racial discrimination, related intolerance through collaboration with the organizations who focus on respecting human rights and providing for the prevention and immigration and the healthcare of the effect of communities. Number four, ensuring just transition and low carbon economies, creation on decent work and equality jobs with the specific focus on economic inclusion for women, equal property ownership rights, and the provision of social protection systems of women in ministry. Our speakers will be our Evangelist Ambassador Victoria Sumay, the Deputy Permanent Representative Mission of Sierra Leone to the UN, also our Dr. Rex Ufumu, Bishop Court, Diocese of Ngui, the Ngui State, also Nziga Olusi Yamez, the board member of the Tuku organization on Salaibu, also Mr. Abdul Kareem Ali, the Director of Engineer Training and Manpower and Development. Also, our speakers will be our chapters, Archbishop-elect Juliet Darling, the National Coordinator of Ruth Sisters of Nigeria, our Minister Esther Esse, National Coordinator of Ruth Sisters Fellowship in Cameroon, and our Minister LaShawn Church, our Ruth Sisters of Florida. Thank you for being with us today. At this time, I would like to introduce our excellent ambassador, Dr. Maureen Brown Phillips. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marshall, Dr. Juliet McBride. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from in the world. Welcome to Ruth Sisters Fellowship International CSW66 side event. My name is Dr. Maureen Brown Phillips, board chair of Ruth Sisters Fellowship International. It is an honor to give the opening remarks. I would like to appreciate Dr. Ada Okika, rector of Ruth Sisters Fellowship International. Thank you for creating this space, and I thank you for this opportunity. I would like to acknowledge both the executive and advisory boards of Ruth Sisters Fellowship International. Special recognition to our distinguished presenters, His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Devon Bannister, Venerable Dr. Rex Ufamudu. Please excuse me in advance if I mispronounce your names. I practice, but it's a little bit difficult. Evangelist Ambassador Dr. Victoria Suleimani, that's difficult, XG Uluso Yil Maz. Did I get it? Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Abdul Karim Ozi Aliyu, Archbishop-elect Dr. Juliet Darlington Onajita, Country Coordinator for Ruth Sisters Fellowship, Nigeria, Minister Esther Ese, Chapter Coordinator for Ruth Sisters Fellowship International, Cameroon, and Minister LaShawn Crumpler, Chapter Coordinator for Ruth Sisters Fellowship International, Florida. To all our distinguished guests, once again, a very hearty welcome to all who have joined us. Ruth Sisters Fellowship International was birthed out and launched in February of 2020 with Dr. Ada Okika, the visionary and rector. Ruth Sisters Fellowship is a fellowship resolved to educate, empower, and support a sister in building a character generation for the kingdom of God. The story of Ruth and Naomi is the strength of this fellowship. Both women experienced loss, emptiness, and sadness. They became empty of their marital bonds and marital and meaningful relationships after they lost their husbands. Yet, in the midst of their emptiness, both women were there for each other in support, commitment, guidance, counsel, obedience, and care for each other. Their being made empty led them to retrace their steps to their roots and surrendered, exemplifying God in the midst of their turmoil. From this powerful story, our visionary gained an insight that just like Naomi and Ruth, many women are being made empty today, shattered dreams, divorce, broken homes, hopelessness. The mission of Ruth Sisters Fellowship International is a holistic development and spiritual growth of members with godly values and skills rooted in the Great Commission and ordinances of God Almighty. The vision of Ruth Sisters Fellowship International is to provide spiritual impartation through intercession, training, and enrichment to raise disciplined kingdom leaders for the purpose of planting God's principles in our generation. Ruth Sisters Fellowship International long-term vision is to build synergies with Ruth Sisters Fellowship International, with global networks and initiatives to contribute towards the establishment of Barley Harvest Empty Story Center as a more coherent, inclusive, and effective agenda on overcoming emptiness for generations. The Ruth Sisters Fellowship International furthers the above mission and vision in responding to their activities, learning from Ruth on building sister-to-sister relationship for kingdom purpose. Recognize the significant importance of tracing our emptiness to our roots. Be empowered to move forward from emptiness in faith, sacrifice, and strong will. Grow our Christian faith from emptiness to generation of love and sisterhood. Be at the right place for the fulfillment of God's will. Resolve to educate, embrace, and positively support one another. Commit to faithfulness in the sowing of eternal seed for the kingdom of God. Once again, we welcome all of you, and we hope the presentations will help Ruth Sisters Fellowship International move its mission forward for women in ministries. I now turn this segment back into the hands of our moderator. Marshall, Dr. Juliet McBride, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Phillips,
You're
for that wonderful, beautiful, detailed information that you gave us. At this time, we're going to have our speaker, Izzy Yuso Yamaz, who is the board member of Tuku organization in Istanbul. We welcome you. We thank you for being with us. You
Hello,
have the floor.
everyone. Thank you.
Also,
Greetings
I'm
from
sorry.
Turkey.
I'd like to say one more thing. All our speakers have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, okay? Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Ezgi Yilmaz, and you were so successful. Thank you. And today I would like to tell Turunja's story with a brief outlook. Oh, sorry. Sorry. With a brief outlook to Turkey's gender equality status first. Then I will talk about how we started, what and how we do, and finally, our future plans. We consider that the gender inequality issue can be only solved through holistic gender mainstreaming and intersectionality approaches. Hence, we are in constantly search of broader national and international network, as well as new ways and new methods. Climate change is the one of the leading issues that we are looking for cooperation and new projects. Turkey is still suffering deeply from gender inequality and all types of gender-based violence. According to the OECD 2020 report, Turkey is among the countries with the lowest female labor force participation rate with 34.2%. In 2021, 418 women were killed by partners or relatives. 1 out of 4 women is experiencing at least one type of violence throughout her life. 15% of girl children under age of 18 are married, and maternal mortality is really high among these pregnant children who are dying during delivery. Turkey ranks first in Europe and 9th in the world in terms of transgender murder. In other words, gender-based violence is still continues to damage well-being, health, dignity, and security, yet it remains hidden in Turkey, which is a culture of silence. With the latest data, we now understand the vital link between gender equality and other social problems, the most crucial of which is climate change. We recognize that without gender equality today, a sustainable and equal future remains out of reach. And without measures taken for climate change, there will be no world in which we struggle for equality. In 2017, a group of people who cannot be indifferent to these facts, mostly working in the same company, which are us, attempted to adopt UN's Orange the World campaign in Izmir, the city where we all live. Orange Izmir campaign started along with the UN's 16th day of activism and turned out to be a large campaign in a very short span of time. During 16 days of activism, iconic buildings and monuments of Izmir were lit up in orange. Numerous people used campaigns, visuals, slogans, and posts in social media accounts. Many restaurants, shops, companies, organizations, and foundations announced their support for the campaign. The Orange Parade, which was organized in the last day of activism, was attended by around 2,000 people in spite of the bad weather conditions. 16 days of activism was a great success and has encouraged us to pursue our aims with bigger enthusiasm and ambition in a more organized way. This is how we have decided to establish Turuncu Association with the leadership of Ms. Işınsu Kesterli, who has successfully run several social responsibility projects, both personally and as the chairperson of İzmir Commodity Exchange. We aim to promote and support all efforts to fight gender-based inequalities and gender-based violence, particularly against vulnerable groups, including but not limited to women, children, the LGBTQI, and refugees. Let me briefly speak about what we do and how we do. Orange İzmir campaign, first launched in 2017, has gained considerable support in a short period of time and has become a routine to be held every year with the great participation of individuals, local corporates, organizations. Within the scope of Orange İzmir campaign, the first Orange Talk was held in 2018. The event hosted speakers of experts and academics who are specialists in their fields and met with great participation. The issues range from gender inequality, the situation of refugee women, raising awareness of gender equality among children, domestic abuse, and masculinity. Orange workshops are organized for private and public sectors to highlight the gender gap, institutions, and enterprises. Recently, Turuncu Association has signed partnership protocols and involved with some of the municipalities, both in İzmir and Istanbul, aiming at working jointly to implement sustainable, inclusive projects focusing on gender equality and eradicate gender gaps within the municipalities. We believe that social and cultural norms and stereotypes form mindsets, and mindsets reflect in the language and behaviors. Therefore, it all starts with challenging cultural norms, language, attitudes, and behaviors. This can only be achieved through sustainable awareness raising projects, campaigns, and programs. Engaging also the men and boys. We attach great importance to awareness raising projects and campaigns. As a growing organization, Turuncu considers that it's best to engage in local campaigns and cooperate with other NGOs. Now, starting with the local ones, and now we want to expand it to the international arena. These are some of the projects that we do jointly with other universities and local organizations. Women and girls experience the greatest impacts of the climate crisis as it amplifies existing gender inequalities and puts women's lives and livelihoods at risk. Since Turuncu Association was established, we have been providing gender equality trainings and capacity building activities to those targeted groups. Now, along with our experience and knowledge, we are planning to use this potential to turn our focus into climate change and gender equality issues jointly. We have recently started a collaboration with a local social cooperative named SCOP, which includes 2 of our founding members, including me, and carries out works on climate change. On the way of achieving gender equality overall, we added on climate change on our agenda. And along with our collaboration with SCOP, we plan to empower women and girls with trainings in the context of climate change, clean energy, and green economy. We are now working on a project called LIFE, Ladies First in Clean Energy, which is focusing on training young women in renewable energy resources and increasing their technical capacity in the issue. And in the future days, we are open for new collaborations and cooperation on gender equality and gender climate issues. Our entire struggle is contributing to the efforts to make the world better the world a better place under the leadership of women. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Before I go to the next speaker, I'd like to ask you a question. What made you
Sure.
what made you get involved in empowering women in your country, in Turkey?
I think it's that we cannot be indifferent to what's happening around us. And we are in a good position. We are lucky due to our families and environment. But most of the women and LGBTI individuals are suffering from that. So I think we should feel the social responsibility to our country and to the world. So we couldn't stop ourselves by doing something for this.
Very good. I have another question. What are some of the differences that you see of equality that you had that your mother didn't have, or your grandmother didn't have?
Now, actually, women are more confident and having more fortunate in the business sector. I'm a business person. So the discrimination against women have been decreased tremendously, but still exist. We have this, the limitations to take place in the decision-making mechanisms and in the politics. And we are still seeing my mom and my grandmom would see the equal pay. It was like a dream for them. It's now better in my life, but still exists. I mean, we need time, but we should struggle with all women and men together to do this.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to have our sister LaShawn from our Florida chapter to give us, well, we're going to give you 10 minutes because we have some speakers that are not on, so we're going to give you 10 minutes to speak at this time. Our sister LaShawn.
Greetings. I don't think I need 10 minutes, but thank you in advance. Greetings to everyone in their respective protocols. Our presentation is on climate actions in reference to the global goals. Climate action, SDG goal number 13. Why do we need to take actions to combat climate change? Climate change is now affecting every country on this continent. Our lives depend on a healthy planet. Fast facts on climate change. Habit changes, not climate changing. Climate change, a natural process, increasing greenhouse emissions. Many people think climate change means warmer temperatures. Many people are experiencing climate change in diverse ways. Every increase in global warming matters. Climate change is a huge matter. Switching energy systems from fossil fuels to renewables. Adapting to climate consequences protects people, homes, businesses, livelihoods, infrastructure, and natural ecosystems. We can pay the bill now, or we can pay dearly in the future. What is sustainability? Sustainability is based on a simple principle. Everything that we need for our survival and well-being depends either directly or indirectly on our natural environment. Why sustainability? Prevention, pollution, reduce waste, and create a sustainable future. Conserve, protect, restore, and improve the supply and quality of natural resources and environmental media. For example, energy, water, materials, ecosystems, land, and air over the long term. To align and integrate programs, tools, incentives, and indicators to achieve as many positive outcomes as possible in environmental, economic, and social systems. What are the environmental responsibilities? The environment is our responsibility. We should take care of our environment. Act Now. Act Now has 10 impactful actions. Change your home source of energy, save energy at home, reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle, throw away less food, switch to an electric vehicle, speak up, Eat more vegetables. Consider your travel. Walk, bike, or take public transport. Choose eco-friendly products. Are you ready to take more action? Act now. The app to download to measure your impact is actnow.aworld.com. Act now. Begin to take more action. Care for our planet. God has given us commandments concerning environmental sustainability. Caring for our planet is a task we all are charged with. Those of us who love God and his word should care about what happens to his plant, his beautiful earth that he gave to us, and take pride in his preservation. That is the end of my short presentation.
Oh, thank you so much, Minister Church. That was wonderful, wonderful. I have some questions for you also. What made you decide to empower women? Why did you start Ruth Sisters Fellowship in Florida?
It's something that I had always been doing, inspiring women, whether it's a positive message or they needed advice. So the women would come to me. So being involved with Ruth Sisters, the Florida chapter, I can expand touching the lives of women.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm an educator by career. I'm a mother. I create programs in the community to empower and inspire individuals and their families. I believe highly on family engagement with the programs that I'm creating and setting up.
If you can empower a woman in one word, what would you do?
It's a word I love. Inspire to inspire is all together.
Thank you so much. Yamaz? Ziggy Lamaz, our first speaker. Yeah, I have a question for you too. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Myself, okay. I studied English language and then political science and international relations. And that is other thing that I'm interested, actually the discriminations and nationalism, and the discrimination against refugees, particularly refugee girls and women. I work as a CEO in an edible oil company for more than 8 years. And actually, my boss, the owner of the company, is another woman who is the first chairperson of a commodity exchange in Turkey, which is very important.
Yes, it is.
And I'm very lucky because of her too. I'm a mother of twins, of 4-year-old.
Wow.
And actually, I'm also trying to raise them with improving their sensitivity to the climate change, to nature, as well as to the society, to the equalities in terms of gender or ethnic or religious and everything involved. That's all.
Very good. If you can think of one word of how you can empower, how you empower another woman, how you can empower another woman, what word would that be?
Actually, awareness, maybe, because most of the women, actually among teenagers, the concept of love is perceived very differently, and this is creating a big risk, especially for the teenage girls, because the violence starts in the language, then in behaviors. So the teenagers, the girls, the young women should be aware of what is going on. I mean, that she should be aware that she doesn't deserve this, and this is the violence, even stays in the words. So maybe this awareness is important to start with.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Dr. Ida, at this time, we're going to call our next guest. And what guests do we have on so I can call quickly because I can't see everyone because of the situation of Zoom. Do we have our Dr. Rex Ufumo?
Not yet in. From Africa, not yet in.
Do we have our Archbishop Juliet Darlington?
We sent her a message, but I can't come in through a voice message on WhatsApp. I can play it.
That's no
It's
problem.
not sounding well. It's
I like
not sounding well.
That's
Some
very
of these are the two of them, the three of them are calling in from Nigeria, but they're having challenges in different parts.
that's no problem. At this time, I'd like to interview our ambassador, Dr. Phillips. Our ambassador, Dr. Phillips, at this time, if she can come on. Dr. Maureen Phillips.
I have to bring in Ambassador Dr. Tony Lawal. She can, okay, let me remove Izzy. Izzy? You can't pronounce your name
Thank
enough.
you so much, Izzy.
Yes, please.
Izzy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes. Ambassador Dr. Tony Lawal is coming in to speak.
That's good because we have a lot of great women that's on with us today. We want to get to know them.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Ida.
Thank you. Ambassador Tony, can you be on video? Is it possible? So I can spot you out. Good, excellent.
Hi, Ambassador Dr. Alva. So good to see you today, Marshall. Listen, we just want to interview you today because we know you are a woman of integrity and character. You have much wisdom. And I'd like for you to share with us, why are you so impactful and why you feel you need to impact women?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Excellency Dr. Marsha Juliet McBride, and also to our Honorable Marsha, Dr. Ada, and all other panelists. I've been kind of like, soaking in all the words of other panelists, wonderful words, and thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to share this morning. The first question that you asked is actually related, to the beginning. We have to look at the beginning why we are created. We are created, to bring value to humanity. And as God has given us that opportunity, to give value to what He created. So we as women also have to value ourselves and bring other women in remembrance of who they are. The power is in our creation, that God has created us to be who we are. And in view of that, I like always to look at how women can affect the community, how we can work together, because the power is in us as women.
I have another question. Can you share with us a woman that has impacted your life?
That is my mother. A great mama.
Tell us about her.
Wow. Yeah. My mom is a very strong mother that, that doesn't see things the way others see it. And what I mean in that sense is that some people see negative things as negative, but my mom always turned every situation into an opportunity. And that being said, when we are faced, as far back as in Africa, when we are faced with different challenges, even now that we are talking about climate change, I will not deceive you, this has been a thing that has been up in the past, because climate change is climate emergency. And my mother, as one of those old women in those days, always, incorporate, the self-awareness of not only who we are, but our environment as one. And when we look at our environment, we look at everything that surrounds the environment. Because, first of all, as a family, we eat food. Where the food come from the earth. And when you look at who are those people that goes to the farm to farm, they are the women that goes to the farm, with their husband. And, the cultural things that affect women a lot, my mom takes it as something positive to affect change. I was sharing actually 2 weeks ago about how my mom took me to the produce farm where they make coffee. And how they have to shaft the coffee, the shaft out of the seed of the coffee, so that it can be beneficial to human beings. So such integrity, such actions actually just open my eyes to so many things, that I copy from her to use for my own development, and to not to give up, and to always, look at your surroundings, always look at how you can effect change, how you can make a difference, how you can speak up, how you can increase intensity and value as being a woman.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that, and plus education, of course, but, that came by because they said charity begins at home. So the charity that we learn starts from, our parents that build us up to that. The last speaker just spoke about consciousness of food, not to waste food. That is part of what this woman will say, that, you have food on your table. Some people don't have food on their table. So do not waste food. Right. With that, we are able to save money. We are able to feed other. I think, part of it is she always feed the community. So I carry all those aspects of her, attitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can you just give us a snippet of who you are and what you do and how you impact the world in your ministry? Just give us a snippet.
Thank you so much. I am Toyin Lawal. I'm a senior pastor of Tabernacle Worship and Prayer Ministry. I'm also a provider, a clinician. So I work in the ICU as well. And how I impact women is just for women to understand that they are women and they have to rise to the calling of the value of a woman.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. At this time, I have the privilege of interviewing our rector, Dr. Ida. I want to interview you, yes. Come on, I want to interview you also, Dr. Ida. Dr. Ida, if you can think of one word to empower a woman, what word would that be?
Thank you, Dr. Marshall Juliet. My understanding of empowerment seems to be different from what others think about empowerment. In my own understanding, empowerment is not just giving out money or giving out food stuff or something like that. Yeah. Empowerment to me means more than that, because when you want to provide empowerment, you give the person the ingredients to live, the ingredients of life.
Yes.
So in my own situation, when you want to empower a woman, you give them the total ingredients to life.
Yes.
Not just giving them money or food or something. And that's what I mean by empowerment, right? For instance, in environments where we grew up, our parents gave us the ingredients for sustainable living. And that was what has brought us to this level. And these are all empowerment. If we were not given the ingredients to sustainable living, we will not be here. So what empowerment to me in the life of a woman is to provide the woman with the ingredients to live.
Yes.
Now, what are those ingredients? The ingredient tells modeling the total woman. The total woman, and it's all inclusive.
Yes.
It's not just one aspect. It's all inclusive. The way you behave, the way you talk, your career, the way you manage issues around you, the way you manage relationship, the way you import yourself, you carry your self-esteem.
Yeah.
They're all inclusive.
So
And
so you're saying, Dr. Rector, that it's holistic.
it's holistic. That's all I say.
Thank you.
It's all inclusive, yes. It's all inclusive.
Beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us how you start Ruth Sisters. Where did this vision, where did this mission start?
This is a very big question for me at this time, but what I know is that the Ruth Sisters Fellowship International did not just come up because I want to start a nonprofit organization. It came as a divine intervention on assignment. And I always say that that's rooted from the way I was born. When I was born, it was like a situation where nobody knows that both mother and child will live. Can you imagine a woman being in labor for 3 good days non-stop? At the time, we are both mother and the child were both weak. My mother was compelled to sign her death bond. So it was just a mystery. Yes. And being the first child, can imagine my dad's life was devastated as even the woman in labor. Yes. So when eventually that by God's providence, I was brought into this world, and my mother and I were alive through cesarean. It was a risk. Yes. Because there was no hope. Yes. So then when my dad saw me, and you know, in that time, there was nothing like ultrasound for you to know the sex of the baby. That's right. So even before he gave me a name, he said, "You must work for women. You must work for women." So everything I have been doing, that voice follows me. And that is why some of you that see what I do when it comes to women and gender that's it. And I feel I'm an educationist, and I feel more joy carrying assignment that has to deal with gender, women issues, even as a teacher. Yes. You know, so it gives me that joy. And ever since I became an adult, I will be at home and I will be called for an assignment that has to do with women. In women organizations, even when I don't go out, even when I don't attend, in fact, it went to me that in times of moments of election, I don't go, but a position will be voted and unopposed and brought to me at home when it comes to women. So it has continued like that. And when I got into the corridors of United Nations, I aligned myself with a global concern of women. I cued in to gender issues. So when the issue of our Ruth Sisters Fellowship came up, divinely came up through a divine message from by another servant of God. Wow. And God released the name Ruth Sisters Fellowship. And when I went into study of Ruth Sisters Fellowship, I see it as my life. I see the life of Ruth as me, and Naomi as me as well. And I cannot explain why God said Ruth Sisters Fellowship. And when I was trying to reflect, my mind went that I was in a ministry where I started women ministry programs, and I introduced Ruth Sisters Fellowship. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was far back. And I said, why? And the name came again. And that was how the path of Ruth Sisters Fellowship came. And because it's a fellowship of women, I aligned the mission of Ruth Sisters to move along the objective and the vision of the United Nations Women. And that is why every CSW, we gather together to discuss the issues of the theme of the CSW in line with women in ministries. Just as we are doing today, we are looking at climate action, environmental change, management of risk, disaster reduction in the life of women in ministry. We all know that the women in ministry, once you are a minister of the gospel, whether it's in the Muslim religion or any type of religion across the world, women are not given the opportunity to explore their inherent potentials to carry out their assignment in that particular ministry. So giving this opportunity to reach their full potential has been a critical issue. And that is what we are discussing on climate actions and women in ministry.
So Dr. Ida, I have another question for you. How do we as women help to sustain women so they can sustain in life? Because as I hear you speaking right now, it comes to my mind where Ruth Sisters is an umbrella to sustain women so they can sustain life. So how can we make those steps? How can we help the women in our community, in our world, in our city, in our village, in our town, in our county, in our family? What steps can we take?
One of the challenges we have is women understanding themselves as women and being supportive to one another. We've come to a stage where our problems has to be solved by us women. Yes, we can bring in the men. Men can give support. But who understands you more is you yourself. So one of the things we need to do, and that is why Ruth Sisters believe in partnership and collaborations. And that was why at this point we are able to partner with UMass and her organization to discuss this issue about climate actions. Women need to come together to help themselves solve their solution. And I always talk of, this is time where we talk about the GPS, the women GPS, gender puzzle solutions. Everything about women have been puzzles. And that is why some men take advantage of that. But no one else will solve our problem, except we come down to look at the women gender puzzle solution.
Yes.
We solve our problem ourselves. We partner with each other. We stop antagonizing each other. We stop sending your fellow women to her early grave.
Yeah.
These are what we need to do. And that is what strengthens us at Ruth Sisters Fellowship. The life of Ruth and Naomi, they were supportive to each other. They never left each other.
No, they didn't. No, they
And
didn't.
and look at why we remember, that's what the history of women carries them today. They never left each other.
And you saying that, Rector Marsha, Dr. Ida, let's underscore that. How do you partner with your stakeholders and your partnership? What are the components that you use? What ways do you try to partnership with people and partners globally when it comes to the stakeholders? What steps do you take, or what steps do you think is the more effective way of partnershiping and developing stakeholders?
Yeah, one of the things I do is that I look at the mission of that stakeholder, then consider it by our own mission, and come up with an initiative that can bind us together, bind us in working together. And then reach out to the stakeholder. If they agree, take for instance, the Tabernacle Worship and Prayer Ministries. is a ministry with the United Nations status. And they have initiative of 1,000 women in religion for global peace.
Yes.
So that's the binding factor. The Ruth Sisters Fellowship is committed to women in ministries. So in a changing world. So partnering with them for an initiative can balance the equation. Their own are inclusive of women in religion, the whole religion.
Yes.
Ruth Sisters is on women in ministry. So integrating the two will strengthen to achieve a particular purpose on the mission of that initiative.
So what you're saying is that the partnership, the collaboration makes each stakeholder stronger. Am I right?
Sure.
So if each stakeholder is stronger, we are able to help more women globally. Am I right? And then we can teach those women globally how to deal with climate change.
Exactly. Because climate change is what has come to stay. We have a lot of emission, a lot of things going on in the environment, a lot of environmental changes. And now your organization cannot carry all, right? If you now partner, then for instance now, we've gotten a UMass from Turkey, all right? So we can be in America and also be in Turkey. All we need to do is that your organization in Turkey, this is what we want to, can we partner so that you can also do it in Turkey? And at the end of it all, you are reporting, oh, Ruth Sisters is in Turkey, is in California, is in Nigeria. So meanwhile, they are doing the same thing. You on agreement, you have initiative, your partner. So even when United Nations came out with the development agenda, they've summed it up in 5 P's. And one of the 5 P's are people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. All right. So in the case of working together, partnership is still important.
Yes.
Even the way we are created by God, He gave us 2 hands. You can't do one thing with one or one finger. There are some partnership. So why don't we adopt it holistically?
Yes.
And be able to achieve result. I always tell my fellow women that we need to kill the spirit of I syndrome. I will need to kill it and think about we.
Yes. Yes.
If you are that Ruth Sisters, I'm not Ruth Sisters. Ruth Sisters is God. So everybody in Ruth Sisters, everyone that comes into Ruth Sisters, we are one. And we do things in order to promote the vision and mission of the Ruth Sisters.
Yes.
Not that the fact that God used me to bring it does not mean it is me. So we need to partner. We need to come together. And that is true. Women need to partner with each other. Yes. Ministry, women in ministry need to partner because there are a lot of climate actions, a lot of environmental changes taking place. And if we cannot come together, you cannot achieve much. You can only achieve what is within your environment. And that is not the train that God wants us to achieve in carrying assignment, whether you are carrying it as a servant of kingdom or in any religion or as a non-profit organization. But the fact remains that issues, like at the United, we have NGO Commission on Status of Women. This is partnering with a lot of NGO, and that is what that's why we have the opportunity to be scheduled for this event by the UN today. So everything has to do with partnership, collaborating together, building each other. That does not mean that when you partner with me, you kill your vision. Yes. When you partner with me, you strengthen your mission of your own agenda. You don't kill it. Exactly. But you strengthen, you make it more active, you make it more viable, you make it more visible.
Yes. You mentioned about stakeholders and partnering with other organizations. How do you feel that we can expand that? How can we expand that where we can kind of have reach more partners and stakeholders? I know we have some now, but how can we reach for more? What steps can we take?
By expanding your horizon, communicating with people, sharing your visions, and agreeing together in what you want to do. That is all we need to do more.
That's good.
You know, sharing your visions, partnering with one another, and being able to understand your common goal, which is gender. And in my own case, I always said GPS, gender puzzle solution. Everything about women is a puzzle. And for we to be more sustainable, we need to provide solution to our puzzle.
Wow.
Our GPS. That is what we need to do. So if I'm coming to you as a woman or as a woman organization or ministry, I need us to partner together to solve our GPS. And when we solve our GPS, then we are creating pathway for sustainability for the young adults coming behind us. We are leaving a footprint. We are leaving a footprint. And we in Christian faith, God is, and recording it for us. There are some songs some psalmist that said, it is only your work that will be used to remember you when you leave. So when we work to leave a footprint for generations to follow, for children, for younger girls, we are leaving a footprint. And when we are leaving a footprint, the name of God is glorified. Women's life is sustained to a better position. And that's what it is.
Dr. Ida, as you was talking, I was thinking about, girls and our next generation and how climate change will affect their future if things are not changed and legislation is not made and laws are not enforced of climate change. What do you feel would happen to the next generation of our girls if there's not a change in climate change?
That's a very good question, because we are terribly experiencing global warming. We all know what happened, how the whole world was when we were in the era of COVID-19.
Yes.
One, we need to let the young girls coming up, educate them on being prepared. Because we don't know what is coming out next. Ever prepared. The scripture tells us to be ready because you don't know the time, the hour it will happen.
Yes.
So be prepared at every time. So that whatever happens, you will not be adversely affected.
Yes.
And because women are into so many things for the moment they wake up till the moment they go back to sleep, they give them no time to prepare themselves.
Yes.
So in times of this, what means that women in ministries, women across the world, should create time to prepare themselves.
Yes.
It might be COVID today and it affected everything. It affected food, it affected economy, it affected the way you live. It has high increase of domestic violence. It's put a lot of things. Look at what is going on in Russia and Ukraine.
Yes.
It's stampeded a lot of things. But if we are not prepared, we can't. Even when we want to delve into our GPS, we need to be prepared.
Okay.
And it's not one person can wake up and say, my name is Dr. and I want to give you a solution to the GPS. No, we need to put our brains together and come up with the actual solution. So we need to be prepared.
That's a powerful word, because it's a saying that opportunity comes with preparation. I'm gonna say that again. Opportunity comes with preparation. Sometimes an opportunity can come, but if you're not prepared for it, the opportunity is no good to you. You know, so that is a powerful word, and a word that is really, how can I say, is really important for this time that we live in. We see wars and rumors of wars that's happening right now, and we see displaced women, well, many displaced women, millions of displaced women in Ukraine. And we pray that things are set up for them. But as this situation go on in the world, this is not going to be the first. And we know that when war happens, we as women are the first ones affected. The men are also, but we know that women are abused and raped, children are during this time of war, and we need to collaborate with other organizations throughout the world, especially with Poland and different ones, to see how women can be taken care of. You know, and I just want you to just target on how do women prepare for war? I mean, how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for a flood? How do you prepare for a hurricane? I mean, because climate change, it also affects the water. It affects the environment. It affects the weather. How do we as women prepare for that, Dr. Ida?
Well, in the first of all, but we might not know the time when those things will come up. But preparation is equipping yourself. You know, building yourself a strategy that help you to withstand whatever comes. We all know that the world is changing. We are in a changing world.
Oh, yes.
No. So if you come to relax, you don't know whether that flood will come to your next door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are some women that will tell you, as a woman, you should have 8 eyes.
Mm-hmm.
8 eyes. So that you always see where it comes from. But if as a woman, you only have 2 eyes, you're only looking in front, the problem might come at the right side or your left side or from your back. That is why a woman solution is develop yourself to have 8 eyes. So that at every point in time, you are on alert. And when it comes, you know what to do.
Exactly.
You just know what to do. Just plug in solution. But if you are not prepared, when it comes, frustration, confusion, disaster, first of all, emotional disaster, before we even talk about environmental disaster, all sets in.
You know, Dr. Ida, something how you talk about you have to have 8 eyes. I was a director of an after-school program a couple of years ago, and I took the kids on camp, and we were in the mountains, and they were teaching us, if you was left in this forest, how, you know, they were teaching us how to survive in a forest. We were lost in the forest. And the first thing the director of the forest told us, that you have to make sure that your feet is protected, because your feet will carry you from one location to the next.
To the other. Mm-hmm.
And I remember from that gathering that I always keep strong boots in my trunk, even in the summer, just in case I gotta run. So I see this is what you're talking about, being prepared. We have to be prepared emotionally, physically,
psychologically,
and psychologically. Yes, we have to be prepared. You know, as we move on, I know she wants to come in, Dr. Ida. She also wants to talk. You want to bring Professor in? Professor Carl, I believe it is, wants to come in and also speak. And I can question her also.
Yes, Prof. Let me see if I can
And you know, as Dr. Ida is
Professor Kyle, I'm trying to bring you in. Also
as you
5 minutes.
yes, as you're trying to bring her in.
Evo Prophetic Professor of Education at International Consulting Cabinet.
Anyone that is, and if you have any questions, if you have any questions,
The floor is open for conversation. Yes.
Yes, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will look at
And all the attendees, you have your questions to come in and share your thoughts, your suggestions on this topic.
You know, we have Izzy. If Izzy can come in also.
Well, Izzy is still on. Is it another one?
Yeah, Izzy's if from Turkey, she's still on. I have a question for her. If she can unmute herself as Dr. Ida get our professor. Yes, Izzy, in Turkey, how do women prepare themselves for if there's a disaster or if there's something that they have to really quickly prepare themselves for? Is there anything in place for women in Turkey to prepare themselves just in case they have to run or they have to deal with issues of emergency?
Actually, it changes according to the topic, but for the disasters, I don't think there is any module or program that train them for the preparation against the disasters, because we live in an earthquake area. Like, I've never heard of it. Maybe actually in Turkey, we unfortunately generally focus on post-disaster things, not to any prevention for that. But the only thing that Turkey has been successful, not relatively successful, not so many, but there are so many women shelter houses by the municipalities and by the ministries. And I think they're doing successful things for the safety of the women and the kids. And now there are many programs training them in the professional skills for their afterlife after the shelter houses. So that's a good improvement for Turkey. But that is the only thing that I know.
Oh, okay, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
As we had this conversation and you reflect, how can you give feedback to the ladies that you are helping in Turkey that you feel that you can improve in of some of the things that we talked about today, as you reflect on what we just spoke about?
Actually, we're trying to do something as NGOs, as socially organized people, but policy making is very important. Without policies, without law, legislations, we cannot do so much. So what we can do, try to influence the policy and decision makers. And at the beginning of this year, we published an open call regarding the measures to be taken immediately to prevent gender-based violence. But Turkey is now politically a bit complicated, so I don't know what will happen, but we're still pushing for policymakers. But without legislation, without the legal system that protects the women and the kids and LGBTI, what we can do is very limited, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Dr. Ida, do we have our person to come in at this time?
No, I'm not getting him.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ida, as we focus on this issue of climate change, what is happening in Nigeria? What are they doing when it comes to climate change in Nigeria? What improvements, what incentives, what policies or legislation have they passed or going to pass dealing with climate change in Nigeria?
Well, I'm not very sure, but all I know is that the women ministry is doing a lot to really have some policies that can strengthen women in terms of every situation, whether it's political, legislative, social, emotional, you know. And then Nigeria is a big country, so everything will not take place in one day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Our Ambassador Lawa, is she still with us? Or our Ambassador Phillips? Or our Minister LaShawn, is she still on with us?
LaShawn is out. She's on the road traveling.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. So Dr. Ida.
Dr. Morin, Ambassador Morin.
Somebody said, I really want to be a part, but I have to leave now. Okay, no problem. I understand. Izzy, I know. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We honor you and we thank you so much for taking this time. God bless you. Thank you. Hope to see you soon. So Dr. Ida, as we continue and before we close, is there anything that you would like as a closing word to give our women throughout the world globally on climate change and how we can help, what we can do, how we can improve, and how we can change policies? Because we know, as we said, climate change, it affects women. Women deal with the food, women deal with the water, they deal with everything. So your closing comments.
Thank you so much, Marshall. What we are trying to do is to find out how best we can strengthen some of the issues affecting women, especially in times of environmental changes and climate actions. We are all looking at resources that can help in providing resource conservations, in our communities.
Yes.
And then that should be given due consideration with concerns on pay equity. A lot of women are not paid rightly. A lot of women are not allowed to be in a position that they are destined to be. At times they said cultural issues, environmental issues, family issues, gender issues. They give it big terminology in order to make sure that those things are not there. So we need to explore strategic possibilities that can bring solutions to these issues. I want to also suggest that it's no longer talking too much. This is time for action points, not talking points.
Yes.
To be able to give direction. Why it's needed? Because the SDG has less than 8 years to go. And if we are not ready to bring out some action points that will help redefine gender positions across the world, then we are not helping ourselves.
Yes.
The global communities have made it possible that everything from SDG 1 to 17 impinges on women. So there is this action points that we need, especially now. And that's why most the clarion calls are geared to civil societies, even at the United Nations, challenging them, calling them to be more proactive, more committed into these issues, into the resolutions. Very soon, by Friday, by God's grace, by Friday next week, the Commission of Status of Women, 66 Session, will come up with agreed conclusion. Last September, the Secretary General brought out the common agenda. We have not queued into all these things. We have not even looked at them. The agreed conclusion is coming up now. What do we do? How do we partner as women to look at those agreed conclusions and see how it translates from the top to the bottom?
True.
Women in community, women in ministry, disabled women, widows, all those categories, they need to be aware.
Yes.
So we need to explore strategic possibility towards women, practical knowledge of the environment and recognition of their imaginations. This is very, very important.
Yes.
And the potential contribution of women in ministry, climate mitigation as part of the economic cycle should also be exploited.
Yes.
So these are what that we need to do in terms of change. So I give time for you to bring in Dr. Maureen to give her closing remarks.
Dr. Maureen, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my voice is a little bit raspy today. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Okay, but it's so good to be here. And I'm sorry. It's very, very interesting, all the information that was shared. I was here taking some notes, and I will summarize. But before I give my summary of the speakers, it is so important for us to understand that climate change, the climate crisis, it's a gendered crisis, and it affects mainly women and girls because they are disproportionately disadvantaged when we look at the different crises that there are. I'm very sorry, my throat is, can you hear me?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, women and girls disproportionately make up the majority of population in coastal communities. And so the communities are under threat because of all this climate change. Women and girls are most likely to personally experience poverty and food insecurity, which are made worse by climate change and make it harder for them to adapt to its myriad impacts. Women are more likely to be responsible for obtaining increasingly scarce natural resources, and the ripple effects of climate change make women and girls more likely to lose access to education, economic opportunities, sexual reproductive health services. So this is really something that we need to pay close attention to. You posed a question to Dr. Toyin about who I think is influenced her, her greatest influence in her life. And I can say that my mother is one of the greatest influencers in my life.
Yes.
She is 85 years old. And my mother still goes out and she has a garden. And whenever she has from the peels from whatever she's cooking, she goes out and she grows her food. She has her string beans, she has, yes. So we can do that, and make sure that we have sustainable, help contribute towards sustainable development in where it comes to the climate, when it comes to our environment. We need to empower our girls. We need to empower those who are in ministries. I am a spiritual development coach, and one of the things that I do is to let women realize their value, because so many women have lost their voice. So many women they don't even know who they are. Some of them, because through relationships or through different factors that have happened in their lives, different experiences that they've had in their lives, they have lost their voice. So one of the main things that I try to do as a coach is to let every woman that I have as a client to understand that each person is given a God-given ability and gift for us to influence people within our different spheres of influence. And for us not to apologize for what God has given us to impart to others. Never apologize for the assignment that we have. Okay. And at the local community level, women are leaders. They reduce waste, adopt sustainable agricultural practices like what my mother does. She plants her flowers, she plants so many different things. And again, we can contribute in so many different ways by sharing ideas. And I've listened to Dr. Ada, and she has so much that she shared. One of the many things I like about what she contributed is the fact that she talks about the GPS, okay? And that women have, we need to have 8 eyes. We need to have 8 eyes. That is so important. And partnering with others, that is so, that's key to us, developing, key to understanding, key to collaborating, to have a great impact, even as Ruth Sisters Fellowship and as women, both in the secular world and also in ministry. Okay. I like to, excuse me, my voice is going.
No problem, we understand.
Okay, all right. We were so impacted by the information that was shared by I keep her name was SG.
Yeah.
SG from Turkey. She gave us a general outlook on what they are doing, what her organization is doing, and she talks about how Turkey still has some major challenges among gender inequality and women's empowerment. She's informed us that 1 in 4 women experiences at least one type of violence in Turkey. 15% of girl children under the age of 18 are married, and that Turkey ranks first in Europe and 9th in the world in terms of transgender murders. She also shared the future plans and collaborations of her organization: gender equality, changing world conditions and climate change, local, national, and international cooperation for capacity building in gender equality and climate change issues, partnership agreement with ISMAR Social Development Cooperative, and LIFE, I like that acronym, Ladies First in Clean Energy. And her organization, she says, we are open to new national and international partnerships. And so we are very pleased to know that Dr. Ada was able to partner with her and her organization. She also gave us the information regarding the projects with other NGOs, universities, and local government. Partner and grantee in CIDS Strengthening Democracy and Monitoring Gender Equality in Turkey project. Participant in Nonviolent Masculinities Workshops, Nonviolent Masculinities Workshop Manual Project with Oxygen University Initiative for the Critical Studies of Masculinities, Building Rainbow Bridges, Establishing Psychosocial and Legal Support Networks for LGBT in ISMAR, which is funded by the US Embassy, and empowering NGOs and enhancing their visibility with Yasser University. Okay, so it is so important, as Dr. Ada pointed out, for us to create partnerships, and that's how we'll be able to be strengthened. That's how we'll be able to be a force. Excuse me. Minister LaShawn Crumpler, she gave us some facts on climate change. She says climate change is a natural process. And she says, people think climate change means warmer temperatures. many people are experiencing climate change in diverse ways. And there's every increase in global warming matters. She also pointed to the fact that switching energy systems from fossil fuels to renewables, that is some of the way we can contribute to climate change and the effects. Adapting to climate consequences protects people, homes, businesses, livelihoods, infrastructure, and natural ecosystems. And we can pay the bill now or pay dearly in the future. I think that's a key point that she pointed out. Okay, she talked about why sustainability. We can prevent pollution, we can reduce waste and create a sustainable future. We need to conserve, protect, restore, and improve the supply and quality of natural resources and environmental media. Okay, energy, water, materials, ecosystems, land, and over the long term, align and integrate programs, tools, incentives, and indicators to achieve as many positive outcomes as possible in environmental, economic, and social systems. Okay, so she encouraged us to act now, and she gave us 10 impactful actions. Okay, reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle, save energy at home, change our home source of energy, throw away food, throw away some type of food, walk, bike, or take public transportation, consider our travel, eat more fruits and vegetable. And again, these are some 10 impactful actions that she encouraged us to do in order to contribute positively to climate actions. Dr. Ada, again, she gave us some very, very important information, impactful insights. And again, she stressed the need for us to partner with others. And she says, we're leaving a footprint for generations to follow. And if there's no change, what will happen to the girls? And again, collaboration, bring awareness, partner with others. And how do we prepare? Build strategy for preparation. Those are key insights that she gave us. And we're in a changing world, and it is so important for us to expand our horizons. We want to thank those who contributed. We also thank Dr. Toyin Lawal. She gave her insight growing up in Nigeria, the impact that her mother had on her, and she looked at her as one of her greatest influencers. She talks about what it is, about the woman, and what it is that, to be, how important it is for us to, I'm going to put it this way, the way Ruth Sisters Fellowship, characterize everything, be a character, create a character generation, by the examples. And she went all the way back to the fact that when God made us, the value that was placed on us and what it is that we have to contribute to others. It is powerful. I am so impacted today. It was very, very insightful. I want to thank everyone who participated. And I know our country coordinator, Dr. Ojanita Darlington, she left a voicemail message and she wanted to contribute to the forum here today. I want to thank again everyone. We were enlightened, we were inspired, and we impacted. We will move forward together and look next year. Let's see what happens next year, all right, as we meet and share ideas. And we hope that whatever information we share, definitely it will impact us as Ruth Sisters Fellowship as we move forward. I am more inspired, and I feel more of the sisterhood and our responsibility to make sure that we create a character generation. Back to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Phillips. I just want, in our closing, in our closing, I just wanted to repeat again that in many parts of the world, women and girls bear the primary responsibilities for domestic tasks, including collecting water, often at the expense of, listen, education, income generating activities, cultural and political involvement, rest, and recreation. Climate change has significant impacts on freshwater resources, affecting the availability of water use for domestic and productive tasks. The consequences of the increased frequency in floods and droughts are far-reaching, particularly for women and girls who are responsible for water management at the household level. Let's not forget this. Just like our Dr. Ida said, we talk, but now we need action points. The next conversation we need to have has to deal with our action points. I'm Dr. Juliet McBride. I want to thank you for being with us today for our United Nations Commissions on Status, Women's 66 Session, Climate Actions and Inspiring Women in Ministry in a Changing World. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. And remember, not just talk, but action points. Thank you for today. Bye-bye.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you. And we apologize for inability of the other speakers who couldn't call in as a result of network issues. Thank you and God bless you. I hope we'll be able to learn good from this meeting. And thanks to our able moderator, Marshal Dr. Juliet McBride, for bridging the gap in making the event more successful. That is part of Women Gender Puzzle Solutions. God bless you. Thank you all. Thank you to those of, thank you, Dr. Maureen Brown Phillips, as always on point. I don't know how she does this good listening to be able to provide summaries successfully. Thank you, everyone. And thanks to all the speakers. To my friends from Turkey, they've gone. I applaud you. Thank you. We have, to whom much is given, much is expected. So both of us expect each other much right now on this particular issue. Thank you. And thanks to every one of you who have taken time in this busy Saturday, a lot of programs. In fact, I'm supposed to be in one program. I'm here because I'm more involved here. There are a lot of programs, and I'm starting another program in the next 10 minutes. So it's so much to do today, and yet you may have time to be here. And I can see our able professor, Professor Carl Christian, is on the line with us. I appreciate you for your time and for listening. You are really a professor of encouragement. He's a gender activist, and I love him much for that. God bless you all for coming, and let's keep in touch. To members of Ruth Sisters Fellowship who are here, Minister Christine, Dr. Yvette, oh my God, Dr. Vanessa, oh my God, a lot of like. Thank you for your time, and let us build on what you've learned today to the glory of God. Amen. God bless you.